And I'm a liar because I definitely said that we're going to do an episode every week. And that has not happened. And that has not happened because I have been moving around. So as you can see, I'm not at my home in San Jose. I'm actually in a hotel in Newport Beach, California. And I will be here for the very near future. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way. So first things first, I just want to say thank you if you've been watching my stuff. I see that some people have been clicking on certain things, and I really appreciate it. I do this because I love it, and I really enjoy two things. I enjoy being in front of the camera and giving information to people, and I also enjoy doing the technical aspect. And so you guys are helping me scratch an itch that I otherwise wouldn't be able to scratch if I was just, working regularly. What else do we got going on? I'm training for a triathlon. So if you're down in the Newport Beach area and you know anything about triathlons, I would love for you to help me. I have started running, so I run like 2 miles a day, or I try. Cycling is on and off. I used to cycle every day, but it's getting really hard. And I cycle around this place called the Back Bay. It's super beautiful. They have it good in Newport Beach. I'll tell you that right now. But they have really great places to cycle, and there's like a path that I cycle around. But I only do that once a week, and I haven't touched the pool. And contrary to popular belief, the swimming is the one I'm least worried about because I actually swam in college for like the club swimming, and I swam growing up. So I know I got swimming in the bag. Obviously, the fitness is going to be an issue because I'm a big girl now. The cycling, I'm not super worried about. I did 27 miles last week, and I know the distance I can do because I'm only doing an Olympic triathlon. So I think that's 6.2 running, 25 cycling, and 1 mile swimming. So I know for the distance on the actual cycling I have, and then the running, 6.2, I'm a little worried about because that's a lot. That's very far, and I'm like really heavy now. But it is what it is. So if you're in the Newport Beach area or the Costa Mesa, Santa Ana, and you know anything about triathlons, hit me up. I'd love to train with someone. I don't want to train by myself this whole time. So yeah, that'd be great. And I think the last thing we have for housekeeping is that I do this like as a second job, like making videos and doing bike reviews. And so if you own a bike shop or you really like bikes or have something to say about bikes, the show is open. Like if you have anything that you ever want to say, or you want a platform to say something about bikes or something you really love, feel free to hit me up. Like I do videos for bike stuff because I love bikes. But if you have something that you love to do, but you just need someone to help you with the technical stuff, I can definitely do that. And that's kind of like why I started this whole thing, was to be able to share the things that I love with other people. So those are the housekeeping things. And we're going to get into the main subject today, which is my 2022, I was going to say S-Works, but I don't got the bread like that no more. My 2022 Specialized Crux Expert. All right, let's talk about it. So I don't want to say recently, probably 2 or 3, no, it's 5 months now. I shouldn't cross my arms. That's not nice. 5 months ago, is it 5 months? Sometime within 5 months ago, I purchased the Specialized Crux Expert 2022. I'm going to just call it the Crux from now on because that's a really long name. And excuse me, I don't want to say all those words. So I got the Crux, and it's been an experience to say the least. So I think everyone's aware that the new Crux is very similar in geometry to the Athos. And I actually am one of the few people who at first I did not like the way the Athos looks. Now I'm really warming up to it. And after riding the Crux, I can confidently say if the Athos is anything like the Crux, my next bike is either going to be an Athos or a whole different bike, which we can talk about at a later point. But the Crux has been great. And I know a lot of people, they review bikes and they review things in general, and you hardly ever do you have someone come on and be like, I don't like this thing because of this, and this. I like it. I like it a lot. And I like it mainly because where I'm at now, number one, in my fitness level, and number two, in my life, it's the perfect bike for me right now. I'm not chasing dragons. I'm not trying to be the fastest up the hill. I'm not trying to bomb hills going down. I'm trying to exercise, and I'm trying to get my life right. And right now, this bike does those things absolutely wonderfully. So if you forgive me, I have some notes here that I may peer at every once in a while. But other than that, it's going to be you and me. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this: does this bike do its intended purpose? Now, it is a gravel bike. And so with that being said, you would imagine that it would be good off-road as well as on-road. Now, its intended purpose is to be a gravel bike. And to be completely fair with you, I have ridden it on very little gravel. So I cannot answer the question, does this bike serve its intended purpose? I can tell you, at least for me, this bike does everything I want it to do and that much more. And I'll explain to you my use case. My use case is right now I'm out of shape and I want to get back into cycling. And I determined that my S-Works is a little too stiff, right? It's a little too much of a bike. It's too much of a monster. And I need something relaxed and I need something comfortable. And so I test drove a couple of them. I test drove a comp at my buddy's shop. And I was like, wow, I really like this bike, but I don't know about the manual shifting. He's like, oh, they make an expert version. So I went online. I saw the satin green one. I said, I want the satin green one. I bought it. I'm still wrestling with that $6,700 purchase. We'll see if, if I lose the weight, it was all worth it. But if I don't lose the weight, golly, I spent a lot of money. But that being said, my use case is I just want to get back in shape. I want to do 20-mile rides, but I want them to be comfortable. I don't want to have, any saddle pressure. I don't want to have any issues with my back hurting or my neck hurting and things like that. And if for that intended purpose, this bike is tremendous. The one thing that I think having a gravel bike allows you to do is, the closest thing I can describe it as is when you were a kid and you got a bike, right? It gave you so much freedom and the feeling of, the air whizzing through your hair. I know that's funny for me to say, but you got it. But just the freedom that you felt, a gravel bike allows you to have that freedom, right? Whereas when you have a road bike, you're worried about the skinny tires and all of those things and getting into grooves. And a gravel bike, longer wheelbase, so it's way more stable. On top of that, the wheels are bigger, so you don't have to worry about grooves. You don't have to worry about rocks. You don't have to worry about things in the road. You can just, either hop things or, if you have to jump off the road and get on gravel, you don't have to worry like, oh my God, my tire might pop. I don't have to worry about needles on the ground because I live in the Bay Area. It's such a freeing experience owning a gravel bike. Now, there are some caveats. They're not as fast, They're not world beaters. They're very purpose driven, and I believe their purpose to be very good and reliable on gravel. But if you're like me and you're just trying to get fit again, a gravel bike is a great way to get into cycling. And my cousin actually came and was riding bikes with me, and he said, oh, I'd love one of these. And he also tried a Tarmac Pro, but he's like, no, I want a gravel bike. A gravel bike is a great entry-level bike. It teaches you bike handling. You learn how to ride with no hands and everything. It's a great way to enter into the bike space. So as far as is it do what I need it to do, it does what I need it to do. If you want to see if it kills it on gravel, that is something for someone else. But for me, for someone who just wants to get fit, wants to get into riding, who loves riding and loves the freedom and the feeling of just kind of moving through places, the gravel bike is the way to go. Now, one thing that I don't really like to talk about in some of these reviews, and you can tell me if you would rather have me do that, but I feel like there are tons of people who do this already, and so it'd be redundant if I did it, is I'm not one for technical specifications because I don't believe that really helps the average person understand how a bike works any better, right? Technical specifications are great, but they're only done off of controlled substances, meaning if it's a size 58 bike like mine, they had someone who was 5'11", 170 pounds ride that bike and blah, 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 blah. And they can only give you information from that perspective. I'm going to give you information from my perspective. So I'm going to give you my measurement. I'm about 6'2" and a half. I'm right now 262 pounds. So I lost 3 pounds. Go me. And I'm a pretty average rider. I've been riding for about 5 years now. I can put in some good miles. I'm a pretty good climber. I'm very lucky. I'm blessed to have great endurance. But it is harder being a heavier rider. And so a big question that I think a lot of you have in terms of the bike would be, how is it comfortability wise? So at about 6'2" and a half, 262 pounds, it is very comfortable. It is incredibly compliant. Having the bigger tires makes it a squishier ride. I only air up to about 50 PSI personally, and I have no problems yet. Now, granted, Newport Beach has some very nice roads. This isn't the ghettos of Oakland, but it's been a good experience so far. But the one thing that I think has made a real difference for me, and I don't know if this is because of the gravel bike or the airing down to, I don't know if it's a geometry thing. I don't know if it's that I'm airing down to 50 PSI, but the saddle, I used to ride a power arc. And what I've noticed on the power arc is, the arc kind of goes like this, but it's rounded on the edges, right? I would get a lot of pressure on my sit bones and in I call it my man coochie. My man coochie would always be sore after I'd ride. What I'm noticing is that I don't have a power arc on this one. I have a power saddle, and the power saddle is so much better, at least on this bike with this geometry, of suspending me. So I really don't have any saddle pressure, and I'm a very big fan of that. And that is almost the reason why I want to go chase down an Athos and try an Athos with size 32 tires, maybe air down to 60 or 70 PSI with a power saddle and see how I like that experience. I'm really hoping, first of all, I got to get the money. Honestly, this bike thing, it's expensive, guys. I watch videos of guys like Outdoor Bros, and this dude's got S-Works bikes. I don't know where he's getting his bread from. If you guys ever catch him, tell him I'm asking him what he does for work, because I'm trying my best, but I can only afford like the expert versions. But yeah, I would really love to try an Athos with a power saddle for an extended period of time. Hey, and if you're a bike shop and you can make that happen, I'll review your stuff for free and shout you out every single time. But yeah, I'm thinking that it might be a geometry thing, might be that it's a gravel bike, but comfortability wise, for someone as heavy as me, and keep that in mind, it's tremendous. Right? I don't have the same neck pain that I have. I don't have any lower back pain. And I've ridden for almost 30 miles and I had no pains. So there's something to be said about maybe starting off with a bike like this and then maybe moving up to a race bike once you get the fit down and you get the more aggressive geometry, you get the flexibility down. So comfortability wise, it's extraordinary. All right, so now I want to get into some of the things that I don't really like about the bike. And the things that I don't like about the bike are things that can be changed, which I think is really good, but stock, I wish they were better, especially for the amount of money I paid for the bike. So this is the first bike I've ever had that had a SRAM group set. I will tell you right now, I am a full one buy convert. I love one buy. I don't think I need to buy anymore, especially living in San Francisco with all those hills. It is great to have a one buy with a really big gear. I think I have like a 40 in the front and a 44 on the back. It is extraordinary for climbing because, as I said, I'm a big bitch and I'm not trying to do all that, heavy duty grinding stuff. But I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I like the SRAM group. I really like the group set. I like the way it looks. I like the way it functions. I'm not having any real issues with the SRAM shifting. I think they have the one by down pat. The issue that I have is the braking. When I brake, especially braking hard, and I don't know if this is the way, I don't think it's the way I'm braking. I'm braking the same way I've always braked. It might be a size thing, but whenever I brake, I feel as though there's something shaking. Like there's something's loose. It's not tight. It's not crisp. It's not real great. And it doesn't inspire the most amount of confidence. And it's just an awkward brake feel compared to Shimano products. Obviously, my reference point is going to be Shimano products because it's either SRAM, Shimano. There are other group sets out there, but I've never had the privilege of using them. Compared to Shimano, I don't like the braking. I think the braking is a little wonky. Now, if Shimano made a one by group set as good as the SRAM one, I would love for them to just have like a baby where I could do the SRAM one by, I really like it, and then the Shimano braking system because I really like those two things together. But the braking for me is definitely the sticking point. I don't like it. It doesn't operate in a way that I really trust it. And because of that, I don't go as hard as I could, I believe. Now, excuse me. The second thing I don't like, and this is a very easy change, is I don't like the handlebars. And that might just be a personal thing, but I'm very used to Aerofly handlebars. And the way that I ride, I do put a lot of kind of pressure on the palms of my hands on the top of the handlebars. And having that flat surface of the Aerofly bars makes that a lot easier for me in particular. And so that's an easy fix, but it doesn't come with Aerofly bars. It comes with like the wide flared gravel bars. I don't ride gravel enough to take advantage of those, and I'm not in the drops that often. The drops kind of hurt my upper back because I guess I'm not fit enough to kind of get in a good position. So I think for me, I'll be changing to the Aerofly bars. But besides the brakes and the handlebars, there's not really that much that I don't like about the bike. I think the only thing that I wish is that there was a GRX 12-speed Di2, and if that came out, I would be very hard pressed not to swap that onto this bike. But other than that, there's not a lot that I don't like about it. I mean, it's not an S-Works, but I mean, who has S-Works money like that all the time? I mean, they're out there, and if you are a woman who has S-Works money, please hit me up, because I'm lonely and single, and I'd love to ride S-Works bikes together. But that's, between us. But yeah, no, it's a great time. It's a good cracking time on a bike. I don't have much else to say about any of the dislikes of the bike. But it's a great experience for sure. Now comes the final question that I like to answer is, would I purchase another one? And the answer is yes, but if I knew what I knew now about how much I would like the bike and how the bike would really fit into my life, I think what I would do is, for the money that I paid for it, don't get me wrong, I love the 1x system, and I would even like to get an Allay frame and put a SRAM 1x on it, but I would wait for a Shimano option, I think. I think the braking bothers me enough that I wait for a Shimano option and see if I could ride that out. But other than that, I would wholeheartedly buy another one. It's exactly what I need in my life right now, especially for this triathlon that I'm training for. Having a bike like this that's comfortable, compliant, that I don't worry about, my man coochie getting hurt. I don't worry about the body aches, and I can just ride is great. Obviously, it's not as fast as a road bike, but I think it's a great training tool. And hopefully, by the time that I'm ready to actually do my triathlon, having this bike would have helped me along enough that I can, get on my race bike and actually put out some real watts and some real numbers. So that's about all for this review. I just want to put it out there that I'm open to reviewing any bike. I just don't have the money to get all the bikes. But if you're a bike shop, or if you're someone who has a really cool bike that they want me to review and you like the way I review things, just hit me up. I think my socials will be on here, and I'm a real easy guy to talk to. Just hit me up and be like, hey man, I have this product, or I have this thing that I want you to review, and we'll have a cracking time about it. But yeah, I appreciate all you guys watching. Please leave constructive or even deconstructive criticism. Sometimes I like to cry in the comments, and please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching.